This is Joe Malone, and it is the Bulls Chat podcast. Joining me, the head coach, general manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden. Coach, good morning, and thanks for the time.
Good morning, Joe. Thank you. Much appreciated.
So the North Iowa Bulls began their regular season schedule after a couple of exhibition matches against the Rochester Grizzlies. It was for real on Friday night at the Mason City Arena, and the Bulls were for real as well, winning 9-1 Friday night. First off, your impressions, did it feel normal? Did it feel right being back on the ice, back on the bench, all that sort of stuff?
I got to tell you, it was awesome and so anticipated personally for myself. Obviously, with the playoffs being eliminated for us last year without being able to play them, so was looking forward to that night immensely, and certainly was excited to be there.
And how was it from your vantage point? Granted, you're mainly focused on the game, and what's happening in front of you. But did the crowd feel good to you? I know that we have reduced capacity this year because of socially distanced seating. But I mean, when those cowbells started ringing, at least from where I was at in the press box, it was pretty loud.
I got to agree with you, Joe. It felt really good. And just not knowing, the amount of people that we're going to get in the building on any given night, I felt like the fans that were there, and I feel like it was a good amount too. That felt okay too, but they were loud and proud and made noise. And after goals, you knew something good happened for the Bulls.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you weren't paying attention, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what happened? Whether it's a goal or a tie up in front of the net or a Carter Eha fist fight, whatever it was, people were getting loud for those things. Let's talk about this. The special teams for the Bulls were pretty special on Friday night. The Bulls 50% on the power play, which is pretty darn good. 3 goals and 6 opportunities, and then Alexandria 0 for 4 on the power play. Which one impresses you more? Shutting out the other team when they have the man advantage, or taking advantage of your opportunities with the extra skaters?
I tell you what, I'm equally impressed because we're using all parts of our game night roster in both situations. Like, kids who aren't on the power play are killing penalties. So when you look at both special teams units, were very effective in that game. And obviously it's early in the season, so I think I really want to credit our players and their ability to make plays on the fly. Like, we've worked a few days on special teams. Like, we've spent some time on it, but I did not expect those kind of results in game number 1. That's for sure. I was very impressed with our guys.
Now, when you talk about working on special teams, what sort of things, without giving away any secrets or whatnot, what sort of things are you telling the players? What's different about being on a penalty kill or on a power play versus, a normal even strength situation? Are you asking them to look for certain things, change their game certain ways?
Yeah, like when you're killing penalties, you'll forecheck differently because you obviously have one less guy. And our in-zone PK is a little unique, the way we set up our formation. So there are some things, and honestly, on our power play, we really just wanted to try to keep it simple. Simple breakout, simple neutral, getting through neutral ice with speed. So it really, I think the bigger credit and why we were able to do okay is just that our kids really adapted well. They took the few things that we asked them to do and really implemented it. But yeah, it's funny that you're that successful in the first game of the season. Hopefully that's a story for the season for us.
Yeah, and well, I'm thinking about it too. Hockey is such a game of anticipation. You anticipate your teammate being in a certain place for you to be able to clear the puck to them or whatnot, and then having to know that for the next minute and 36 seconds, they're not going to be there. They're going to be somewhere else on the ice, and so you've got to change where you're going. Now let's talk about some of the, there was a lot of great performances. A number of North Iowa Bulls were putting up numbers on the stat sheet from the goals and assist side, but from the goal side, Dalton Saltness and Hayden Fox both netting 2 goals in the home opener. Talk to me about their performances.
Well, I think for sure with Salty getting on the board early, and he's a guy who's going to be looked upon to be on the score sheet night after night and be consistently there. So we're excited that he got off to a quick start. Now, Hayden Fox, as you know, in the exhibition games, he's been a pretty consistent goal scorer for our team early on. So not so surprised that either of those guys were on the board early, but definitely pleased by their results.
And then the defense was really good. I mean, minus the first goal of the game, which went Alexandria's way. After that, things seemed to lock up pretty nicely. Less than 10 shots in any given period faced by Babicool in that game. Talk to me about the defense. I know during the exhibition contest that we had here, it was basically one set, one crew of defense working together throughout that whole exhibition. Did that help them going into a regular season like this?
Yeah, our D-corps got a lot of reps in exhibition because we don't have a ton of numbers at that position. So those guys did get all the reps they needed. I think on Friday night, like Babicool is really good early in the game. Obviously, we gave up the first goal, but Alex came out with a ton of energy and jumped to start the game, and we didn't really match that. It took us probably 10 minutes to get into the first period on Friday night, and thankfully, with Babs back there doing what he does, like we were only down one. And our D-corps was really good on Friday night again. Like they transitioned pucks cleanly and quickly, which is an expectation of ours. They handled D-zone like on the wall stuff below the goal line and net front effectively as well. So when you're looking at those guys are in command, you've got a veteran goalie who gave his team a chance to win a hockey game. That's all stuff we're looking for every night.
Now, is Babicool or Daninger or whoever's in net, are they kind of quarterbacking the defense out there, telling guys, hey, watch this side, hey, help me out over here, anything like that? Is there a lot of communication that goes on?
Yeah, especially early in the year, Joe. I mean, communication is the key at all points of the season, but early on, it's so vital and important that anybody who has a free set of eyes can lead those that are in puck battles and looking for coverages. So our goalies are both very vocal, and obviously the D pairs, we ask them to communicate the D zone as much as they possibly can to, play off their partner and let them, offer up a little bit of, hey, here's where I'm going with this one in situations. So communication is a huge, huge part of winning hockey games.
Well, and that's something that you may not see depending on where you're sitting at in the stands or, how many cowbells are around you in the seating section. You may not be hearing that as well either.
That is true.
Now, one thing I wanted to find out, am I getting shorter or are the North Iowa Bulls getting taller? Because I think this is the tallest team in the decade of dominance that the Bulls have ever put on the ice.
We went after... We still want to be the fastest team out there. Like that, our goal is always to build our team around speed, but we did want to increase the size and strength of our team. So your eyes aren't deceiving you. We are the tallest and probably heaviest team that we've ever brought into Mason City.
And is that different for you going, not saying that if you're tall, you're not fast, because you want that speed game going on, but do you kind of change up strategies and tactics when you have somebody that, you add a however long stick to the end of their wingspan can cover a lot of ice? Does that change things for you as a coach?
I think it just adds to your opportunity when you're bigger, stronger, more reach. And again, like we talked about earlier, like we're still looking to be a fast team, and we didn't lose any speed in adding the size of the player that we did. So, yeah, the advantage is like it's easier to defend with a long stick. You can take pucks away, and you can get sticks in lane to pick off passes and just defend that way. And also forwards, like the longer reach you have, you can pull pucks, you can change angles on the shot with those long reaches. So it's an advantage on both sides of the puck.
I got a text during the game from a friend that was in the stands watching, and he asked, why do the referees stop some fights and why do they let other fights go? And I honestly didn't have a good answer for him. Do you have an answer for why the refs will let some shenanigans take place and then other times they swoop in right away?
I think if there's ever a player that's at a disadvantage, the officials will step in and break it up.
Okay.
At our level, the kids, they basically only get one fight. When they fight, they get kicked out. So a lot of times they will let it go to, some kind of completion. But there's times, too, where they get in there quickly, so that doesn't happen. They're trying to eliminate ejecting players for silly reasons. So, in the whole grand scheme of things, I think the officials do the job as well as they can, and I think they read off, what the game situation is and what the frustration level is with both teams. And I think for the most part, they do an awesome job of not allowing players to be taken advantage of physically or in fights like that.
So blow off a little bit of steam, but you keep it under control.
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
Okay. I was like, honestly, I have no idea. If I was a ref, the bigger you are, the more likely I'm going to let you fight because I'm not getting in between you and the other guy. So.
Agreed.
Now, one final thing is the Bulls get set for the first road trip of the season, heading up to Granite City, taking on the Lumberjacks Friday night, Saturday night. What do you know about Granite City so far this season? What are the Bulls' strengths going to be against the Lumberjacks this early part of the season?
Yeah, I think we just refer back to we always focus on ourselves. Granite City played one game last week, and they won in a big score over Wilmer, which Wilmer beat New Ulm the night before. So it looks like the West is going to be a tough division again this year. But we're really focused on still trying to evaluate the kids that we have here in the early part of the season. So we'll get everybody in the lineup up there next weekend. Obviously, our objective every weekend is to go in and get 4 points on a weekend that you play 2 games. But the bigger picture is we play them 10 times. We have kids that are new here playing and kids that we need to evaluate, and maybe even some of them that we need to make some decisions on. So it's an important series. I'm not going to downplay that because it just seems like in the last, every time we're in the same division as them, it comes down to those 2 teams at the end battling it out. Usually one or the other comes out on top. So the points are important, but our kids are more important in the fact that we give them the opportunity to play, and especially in what I would call a heavy series like Granite City, and get some evaluations done.
Now, when it comes to traveling and taking the road, this will be the first, I'm guessing, first overnight trip that you've had as the team in the current pandemic situation. Does that change anything for you? Do you have to alter your schedule at all, or how much of that weighs into what will be going on this weekend?
Okay, so we do, and that's a great question, and I'm sure people have thought about that. When we did the Rochester exhibition game up there, we took a limited number of players. We knew what we were going to have in the lineup that night, and we didn't take any extra guys. Now on this Granite City series, we want to play everybody in our group, so we'll be taking our entire group. As far as how we travel, we're able to, and because we're kind of in somewhat of a bubble in our group, and we monitor it daily, which we'll continue to do even on the road. We're safe to travel as long as we mask and social distance, so that stuff's all still in play. As far as getting to the rink, we're not able to get in there as early as we used to be able to. On a 7:30 game, you'd be able to enter the rink at 5:30, kind of get going with your stretch, meetings, warm-ups, that kind of stuff. Now it's pushed back a half hour to 6 o'clock, which probably is not a huge deal for us. I think we'll be able to manage that. And then the hotels, like our league policy is 2 to a room, so that adds a little stress on hotel rooms and numbers of hotels that you need. But yeah, there are some differences, but to be honest, they're really not all that uncomfortable in the whole grand scheme of, hey, we have a hockey season and we're really trying to protect that and play a full one. We're willing to do what we need to do to make it happen.
Yeah, so it's not going to mess up any ritual pregame meals of pasta or whatever it may be. You got to eat a little quicker.
Yeah, no, I don't think, and obviously we can build that into our schedule to just make sure if we need to leave a little bit earlier because we can't get in or leave a little bit later, whatever it is, we'll make sure we get our boys ready to go.
Excellent. Well, Coach, General Manager Todd Sanden, it's always a treat to be able to talk hockey with you throughout the season here on the Bulls Chat podcast. Thank you, and go Bulls this weekend against Granite City. I know fans will be keyed in for these 2 games.
Right on. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate the opportunity.
That is the head coach, General Manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden.